Okay, so starting with just vocabulary, an isosceles triangle has at least two congruent sides, which we already know. If it has two congruent sides, then there are certain parts that are associated with an isosceles triangle. So for one, we're going to start with the legs of the triangle. The legs are the two congruent sides. So this would be a leg and this would be a leg. So sometimes with isosceles problems, it will show you the isosceles triangle. Sometimes it'll just say it's an isosceles triangle, so that's why the vocabulary is important. I'm going to go to base angles next. The base angles are the angles that are congruent. So they're the angles opposite the legs, right here and here. Those are the base angles. And then the vertex angle is just this top angle up here. Seriously? Who dat? Oh, it's Caitlin. Thank you. Who do you have right now?
Crow.
Maybe I'll get it back to you.
Like, come back.
Or yeah, come back after this class or toward the end. I'll have it ready. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, and then the base, should I get another color? The base is just that bottom side right here. Here is the base. Okay, then the theorems, I mentioned this on the board. It just means that if you have a triangle with two congruent sides, then the angles opposite those congruent sides are congruent. Sometimes this is called like isosceles triangle theorem, but as long as you recognize it, you're good. And then here, converse of the base angle theorem, if your base angles are congruent, then your sides are congruent. Cool. Okay, now we're going to look at some examples. Of course, they start out pretty easy. Name the congruent parts of each triangle. So here it shows that these two sides are equal, and then we can say that this angle is equal to this one. Angle F is congruent or equal to angle E. And then for B, it shows the two congruent angles here. So therefore, the congruent sides would be right here and here. So TO is congruent to WO. Okay, ready for the next part? Up here, it just takes it one step further. I'm going to use a pencil because I'm going to erase as I mark this shape. It says if segment AE, so this segment here, is congruent to DE, right here, then which angles are congruent? Well, the base angles would be right here and right here. So angle A would equal angle D. Okay, and for the next example, erasing now. It says segment AB, so right here, and segment EB are congruent. So which angles would then be congruent? It would be this angle and this angle, so angle A. And then for angle E, I don't want to just say angle E because E could apply to any of these angles or all three of them. So when I identify this angle, I'm going to use angle AEB. And then the next one says if angle D, so this angle right here, and CED, so this angle here, are equal, then which segments are equal? So then this segment would be equal to this one. So segment CE and CD. And last but not least, EBC, so this angle right here, and ECB are equal, then which sides have to be equal? Would be this side and this side. So BE and EC. Okay, now we're going to bring some numbers into the mix. You may have seen this on Khan Academy if you already did your Khan Academy this week. It says find the unknown measure in the triangle. So here it shows that two sides are the same, so therefore your base angles are going to be equal. So if this is 50 degrees, this has to be 50 degrees, not 550. And then for the third angle, these three angles have to add up to 180. So you can just do 180 minus 50, and you'll get 80. And then for B, it shows that these two angles are the same, so therefore these two sides are the same. So if this is 5 centimeters, this is 5 centimeters. For C, C is similar to A, where your base angles are going to be the same measure. So if this is 46, this has to be 46 degrees. Sorry, that isn't supposed to be two lines, just one line. And then for your last angle, just do 180 minus 46 to get 88. Number D is where people get stuck sometimes, but you see the two congruent sides, that means these two angles are going to be equal. So what you should do first is subtract the 40 degrees from the vertex angle to get 140. And then this is the degrees left that's split among those two angles, and since they're equal, you can just do 140 divided by 2. So these are each 70 degrees. And E, what do we have here? This is the same, this is the same, so then this would be 63 degrees. And then for the last angle, 180 minus 63 equals 54. Okay, next one, we have to solve for x. It shows us that the two base angles are the same, so therefore these legs are the same length, and then we can set them equal to solve for x. Easy enough. Okay, switch. Next page. Okay, so now it switches to equilateral triangles. Equilateral triangles, as you know, has all congruent sides. Triangles have 3 sides, so the 3 sides would be congruent. It shows an equilateral triangle here, and just like I showed you on the board, if it has 3 congruent sides, then it also has 3 congruent angles. Or if it has 3 congruent angles, then the sides are the same length. Some of you are probably thinking ahead, like, aren't all the angles 60 degrees? Yes, and there will always be 60 degrees in an equilateral triangle. So here it says find the measure of angle P, Q, and R. Since all the sides are the same, all the angles are the same. And then you would do 180 divided by 3, because the angles have to add up to 180, and you get 60 degrees. And yes, that will be consistent for any equilateral triangle. The angles will be 60 degrees. And then for the next one, find ST. We see that all the angles are the same measure, so therefore all the sides are the same measure. It tells us that this side is 5, so this side must be 5 as well. ST equals 5. And we gotta bring some algebra in here, right? It shows the 3 sides equal, so that means the angles are equal in measure. 180 divided by 3 equals 60 degrees for each angle. So therefore this is equal to 60 and this is equal to 60, and we can solve each of these. Okay, now moving over here to the word problems. As you can see, there's no picture here, so this is where the vocabulary is super important. It says the measure of each of the congruent angles of an isosceles triangle. So what I'm going to do is actually just draw that isosceles triangle. It says the measure of each of the congruent angles, so that would be these guys down here, is 6 less than the measure of the vertex angle. So these have to be the same. These are 6 less than this angle. So x minus 6 and x minus 6, and then our vertex angle is just x. And then to solve this, these three angles have to add up to 180, so I'm just going to write it out like that. X for the vertex angle plus x minus 6 for that one plus x minus 6 equals 180. Then from here we solve. Combine like terms and solve. So x plus x is 3x. Negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. And it comes out to 64. It doesn't ask for x though, it asks for the measure of each angle. So 64 would just be the measure of the vertex angle. And then 64 minus 6 is 58, so that's the measure of your base angles. Thank you. Next. Okay. B, similar problem. It says the measure of the vertex angle of an isosceles triangle. So I've drawn my isosceles triangle. The vertex angle is 15 degrees more than the measure of each base. So if our bases are x and x, then our vertex would be x plus 15. Find the degree measure of each angle in the triangle. Okay, same process. I do x plus 15 for the vertex angle plus x equals 180. And then 55 plus 15 would be 70 degrees. And that's it. I do want to look at the homework with you because I think it takes it up one step from this. Like it has this, but then there's a couple problems that take it up another notch. So I want to show you those problems so you don't get stuck. I'm going to move over there at this point.